Hello, everybody, and welcome to your Every Other Day vlog with Andy with Bilibre. So today we're going to talk price discovery and Bitcoin's endgame, as far as where Bitcoin's going to get at the end of its run. And I say that a bit ironically because assuming the Bitcoin network continues to work, it's going to go on until people stop using it or another technology that's even better than Bitcoin shows up. But then again, because Bitcoin is programmable money, Bitcoin might just adopt whatever its closest competitor has to offer, which is why it's so cool. It's just it's this amorphous concept that swallows whatever best ideas show up in the market. I guess it would have to take some sort of an entirely different foundation as far as a type of cryptocurrency would have to show up in order to best Bitcoin. And have everybody leaving in droves. It would have to be some sort of crazy exploit or some crazy sort of bug that would render Bitcoin useless. And of course, that's worst case scenario. Besides a huge EMP knocking out the majority of the world's technological infrastructure, which would be bad news bears in more than one account, not just Bitcoin. I think our current way of life would be very much threatened. So Bitcoin's end price, or the price that Bitcoin is going to eventually get to, I talk to a lot of people about Bitcoin. That's what I do. And inevitably the question that comes up is, well, Andy, what is Bitcoin's ultimate price going to be? And I think when we get to the point where I can tell them, hey, remember that time you asked me where Bitcoin was going to end up, it would at that point, Bitcoin, if it does succeed, would be so ingrained in the zeitgeist. It would be so much a part of our economic infrastructure that the question wouldn't be what is Bitcoin worth, but rather what is everything else worth relative to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin would be the thing that we would be comparing to everything else. I know that's kind of a difficult concept to grasp, so let me put it differently. The same way that today we view the dollar as the anchor to everything else. So the way that we say, oh well, a gallon of milk is worth close to $4. So $1 will give you a fourth of a gallon of milk. Whatever that conversion is, maybe it's a quart, right? That makes sense. 4 quarts make a gallon. I think that's the proper conversion. Let's hope I get that right. Anyway, so yeah, the way that we relate the dollar to everything else, I believe we will be relating Bitcoin to that. So people will be like, oh, that house looks like it's worth about a Bitcoin, or that car is worth about let's say a Bitcoin and a tenth. There we go. Conversions, right? A tenth of a Bitcoin. I think if Bitcoin does succeed, we'll get to that point. But for now, we're playing this game where we are matching Bitcoin to the closest relative of money, the closest tool that we have at our disposal for understanding value, and that is the dollar. So the dollar is going to be what we relate to Bitcoin for as long as is necessary and for as long as either is relevant. So should the dollar become less relevant or should it become less valuable, then we would have to find something else to compare relative to a Bitcoin. So right now we see one Bitcoin being worth around between $9,000 and $10,000 right now. And as we progress, we would eventually get to the point where see that's the thing. The dollar has been the money tool that we've been using to relate value to each other. And once, if the baton should pass to something else, what would it be? Would it be Bitcoin? And once that's the case, then we would be relating Bitcoin to any other currency, any other good, any other service. And the dollar would just be like anything else that you would just, it would be like the secondary, let's say, the secondary mode of portraying value. I think I got stuck there because it's such a foreign concept. But the idea here is that you're using the dollar first as the tool to find value relative to everything else. But what happens when, let's just say for whatever reason you can't use the dollar to relate value, you would use a secondary item. So say you only had cigarettes. Say you had 10 cigarettes and you said, hey, I'll trade you 10 cigarettes for that CD. I'm showing my age here. Now the cool kids would say vinyl. So yeah, I want that vinyl record for 10 cigarettes. Would that be an even trade? I guess however much you value your cigarettes at. Of course, in jails and prisons, the cigarette currency is very much alive. That and ramen packets. So yeah, getting back to Bitcoin's potential endgame, the idea that Bitcoin would survive to the future would suggest that we would comparing the dollar to a Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin's current market cap is, I think last time I checked, between 300 billion and 400 billion. I remember that when Bitcoin hit 20K per Bitcoin, I don't even think we were as close to, I think we're inching up on Apple's current total market cap. And if that's the case, actually, I got the number now. It was $40,000 per Bitcoin is what we would need to get to Apple's current market cap. And Apple's current market cap is nowhere near the world's entire economic value. And what I mean to say by that is that if you're going to use anything as a money, as a currency, it needs to supplant the majority of the economy. So the amount of dollars in circulation, the idea is it would have to be enough to manage the entire world's economy. So you would want enough economic value in your currency to be able to handle the globe's economic output and throughput and everything that goes into it and out of it. And if that's the case, then you would need Bitcoin to be much more valuable if it's going to be handling the global economy. I think that was a very circular way of getting there. But you get my point, I hope. The idea that Bitcoin needs to get to the dollar's entire aggregate market cap value. I believe that currently fiat currencies around the world equal in aggregate over trillions of dollars. So Bitcoin's current market cap would have to hit into the trillions if it's going to manage the global economic throughput. And I believe it could get there. It could get there if the technicals are still strong within Bitcoin, if the Bitcoin network continues to work, if the amount of transactions are scaled, then Bitcoin could easily get to the trillions in market cap, only because again, this goes back to the network, this goes back to what makes the network valuable, the fact that the Bitcoins are finite, the fact that it's so far, very much uncorruptible, the fact that the majority are in agreement as to what makes this technological infrastructure sound. It has not been changing very fast because we seem to be taking it slow, but only because everything that we have so far seems to be working as is intended. Forks are going to come and go, guys, and I think that as long as Bitcoin continues slowly but surely, small infrastructure changes over time will make a huge impact. And all these other cryptocurrencies that are around, do they have a place in the future? Do they have a place to play? Do they have a part to play alongside Bitcoin? I believe they do. I believe they'll be few and far between. I'm not sure which one is going to be the clear winner. I hope Ethereum does find its footing. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say that the recent problems as far as lost money, I think those are growing pains, and I think it's okay that not that it's okay, but the amount of money that is put into Ethereum and lost is part of the growing pains. And Bitcoin has had plenty of its own. So yeah, guys, hope this was informative. Please like if you like, please share with a friend, and until next time, see ya.